Just one other question. I think we are going to be on the top of the hour. So just one other question. And an interesting one on the managing the mother-in-law that you'd mentioned, right? That's an important point. That with managing mother-in-law comes the challenge with what can be changed, right? And how to manage that.
So what can be changed? Let me tell you for sure, and that's Priya. Her nature cannot be changed. Can I be really clear about this? It's a myth that you can change the nature of another person. Mother-in-law, father-in-law, doesn't matter, okay? You can't change another person. What can be changed is your attitude towards her. She is, after all, the mother of your life partner. She has given you the gift of your spouse. Start looking at her differently. Take her out on a meal, have a cup of tea with her. Even if it's difficult, have a positive conversation. You will walk away from it being happy that you were kind. That's what's important. And slowly, she'll be wondering, why is she being so nice to me? Maybe she has an alternative motive. Or she'll say, she's being so nice to me, all right, let me also try to work back. It has worked. When I got married, my mother-in-law said, in our house, women don't have to work. We don't need to earn money. Women don't have to earn money. I was like, what? Because I told you I was raised by a banker mother who worked her whole life. So I had to slowly go camel in the tent. And I worked for 2 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, till it became 24 hours of work. So do it. And the magic words are, what do you think? Every time ask her, what do you think? I was thinking this could be this or that. What do you think? And whatever she answers, don't react. Smile and say, thank you.
I'm single, and the fear of ending up with a wrong person, I think, is more than the fear of getting married. So
yeah, ending up with the wrong person is such a bad idea. Don't end up anywhere. That's better. Okay. So here's my tip to you. I'm glad you're asking this question. I love this question. I mentor so many young women. In championwoman.org, we run workshops for college girls who are going from college to campus. Okay. And we often say to them, don't rush into marriage. Please treat it like a project. If you want to have a life partner, write 10 things that you want to have as characteristics in them. Then check whether it works or not when you meet them. Don't get carried away by the fact that he looks like Virat Kohli. Seriously. Because those looks afterwards, that same beard and that same mochi will irritate you in very short time. People get married, men get married to women hoping they never change. And women get married to men hoping they do change. Truth is, men don't change. And women do change. So the truth is, both don't get, that part of it right. So please don't end up with the wrong person. And the way you can do it is to have a very clear value system, skills, values, everything that you want in their life partner. Write it out. Please use the old-fashioned notebook and pen. And then think about it carefully, introspect, then have that communication and that conversation with this person. And one of my friends has written a beautiful book. It says, don't fall in love, rise in love. So take your time and then you will rise.
Brilliant. I think the question has been pasted back. Husband thinks that I'm not giving him time, spending time for career and child. How do I handle this?
So Bhavna, if your husband thinks that you're not giving him time, you're spending time for your career and your child, please make it a point to put his needs first. Find 2 or 3 things that you could do that show that you're making his need more important than your own. Let me give you a simple example. You want to eat a Chinese restaurant and he wants to eat in an Italian restaurant. I'm just giving a silly example. Say to him, today can you choose the restaurant? Whichever you choose, I would love. Then you go there and you enjoy that meal which you don't like. Do it. Then you can ask the husband, can you tell me 1 or 2 things that I could do that would make me a better life partner to you? Ask openly. And they will say something. That time, don't defend it. Say, let me think about it. Thank you for your advice. Seek advice. Men love advice. Men don't like complaints. They love advice. Advising, I mean. They like to give advice. So say, can you advise me? I don't know what to do. I want to give you more time, but I don't know how to do it. Can you advise me? What could I do different? Slowly you will find, as soon as we drop that little ego monkey from our shoulder, which I've told you about before, slowly love and peace and faith comes into the future, and as partners we will do a great job of raising the child.
Got it. And sometimes it almost comes to a point that you might have to put your personal preferences or your interest on the back seat to be able to achieve a little more bigger objective. Is that what you're trying to say? And we will have to make those kind of arrangements sometimes?
So sometimes, not all the time, you have to put your needs below the needs of the other. Okay? True love is about that, by the way. If you're in love with somebody and you're asking yourself, do I really love this person? Or is this just a passing phase? Ask yourself, is her or his happiness more important to me than my own? If the answer is yes, you're really in love. Okay? And when you put your own needs in the back burner, what I mean is, if it is a value-based need, suppose you have a value that you have to call and spend some time respectfully with your own parents, okay? You don't put that on the back burner permanently. You do alternate weeks instead of every week. You slightly juggle it, that's all. For instance, I go for a beach drive with my mother every evening. Some days I can't because my husband has some other priority. But you have a call instead with your mom and you speak to her nicely, and you don't hold it against the spouse saying, because of you I couldn't meet my mom today. This my mom versus your mom thing has to stop. We're all moms and that's it. We're one family, right?
So there's a question from a male professional, and I'm so happy that this question's come up. It really, really is a very good question. I'm not able to give sufficient time to my wife. What can I do better?
First, acknowledge it to her openly in as many words as you are saying it here today in front of 300 people. That's just such a sweet thing you're doing. Tell her that you said it in front of 300 people. First of all, she'll be happy with that. Second, you have to do something to change. Can you do at least one activity together that you both enjoy? Can you do walks together? You both have to get exercise. Could you walk together? Could you sometimes, play those old-fashioned board games? Anything that's gadget-free and you're able to do along with a loved one. My husband and I do some reading, absorb reading every night before dinner. For me, that 10 minutes is magical. I don't need much more. 10 minutes we read together something inspiring and we discuss it. Just do something like that. It will help make you both feel much closer. And while you can't give hours and hours, when you are with her, please be gadget-free and be completely with her. It will make such a big difference. Look into her eyes. When is the last time you looked into your wife's eyes?
Another interesting question. I'm a mother of a child and I took a slow career path in the initial years of my child's growth, I'm assuming. Now, since I want to pace up and devote time to my career and give justice to my work, my husband always says that, look, you can stay where you are. We don't need your money, right? And in this situation, how should I react? How should I go about it?
It's a tough one. It resonates with me because I was there once. I think it's not about the money, right? You need to help them understand that it's about your self-worth. See, your self-worth is going to be your net worth. Tomorrow, how much money you make, how much put in the bank, how many mutual funds they become and all is secondary. What is important is that you will realize that you were picked to grow in your career in a way in which made you special, and that will glow in the relationship that you will have at home. But you can't do it at the cost of breaking the relationship. So you have to have a frank discussion and say, I really want to enhance my career because I think I'm really good at my job. How can we do this so we balance it? Have that conversation. And there has to be give and take. Proud to be a new mama. What could be the move to provide justice to the baby, family, and boss? Would it be taking a break from work? As all of it needs 100% focus. Yeah, I think it's a challenge that has been there since time immemorial, when we've had our biological clock and our career clock move at the same time. And I don't think a break is always the right answer. I think all those things that I told you, seek the support of people, get quality time, try to ask for a little flexi time. Nowadays it's work from home, figure out some me time, all of that will help. See, also, when you have to manage a boss, a husband, and a career, a boss, and a baby. Is that what you said? A career, a boss, and a baby. Treat your husband like a baby. Be nice to him. Don't forget about him while you have your baby. Treat your baby with love and affection, but don't be over possessive. Because when we are controlling, then that's when we become very stressed out and it becomes a challenge, right? Nowadays with SMS, every second you want to know, has the baby slept, has the baby pooped, has the baby eaten, how many gulps? Seriously, too much of information is not necessary. It stresses you out. If you've handed the baby to someone to look after, trust that person, please. That trust will win you a lot of self-esteem, and you need that self-esteem to juggle all these balls. And with the boss, it's not an excuse. Most people have babies, right? So don't use that as an excuse. But if there are some times when you need to have a little rest because you had let's say a night of no sleep, please tell the boss that I am going to have to have a later start today. But you know what? I'm going to work later and finish this project on time. So you have to be fair to everybody. And the fourth person you forgot in the equation is you have to be fair to yourself. It will work if you trust those around you.
What is a positive thing that one should think every time one feels it is time to slow down in life because I cannot manage it all?
So one positive line that always keeps echoing in my mind is, this too shall pass. Right? This too shall pass. I'm feeling overwhelmed. This too shall pass. I'm feeling tired. This too shall pass. See, and the other thing is, try to name the emotion. Try to become the positive thing to do is to become self-aware of your emotion. Just introspect. Sit down in silence for a few minutes and say, what am I feeling right now? Is it overwhelming? Am I feeling angry that I'm not able to get to everything that I want to do? Am I feeling left out? Because if you're feeling left out, there's no use just sitting there and sulking, right? So we want to go up there and say, I think I have to slow down because I'm naming this emotion, and this emotion that I'm feeling. Bring your emotion to your words, to your lips with a trusted confidant, and then work it out to see where do you want to slow down. One of the best ways of slowing down is to go to bed on time and wake up a little earlier in the morning. The second way is to, this third kind of limb that we have, try to use it less and less. Of course, use it. It's work related also and pleasure related. But there have to be times when you're unplugged. See that beautiful expression? When you put pause on a machine, what happens? It stops. When you put pause on the mind for the human being, what happens? That's when we start to rethink, reimagine, and reinvent ourselves. So put pause, and then you'll be able to slow down and be able to give quality both at home and at work.
In the middle of a family with a kid and engaged in a not so interesting career, is it possible to follow my passion?
If you're in a career that's not so interesting, two things you have to do, right? One, you have to learn to love what you do. Just start putting more and more concentration on it and you will love it. So put your concentration more, and what you don't seem to like will begin to become more manageable. I'll tell you one quiet secret, okay? I hate to do weight training. I don't like to do weight training. But see, as you can see, I'm not that young. So if I don't look after my muscles now, I'm going to get into atrophy. So I have to do weight training. So when I go to the gym and I do weights, I get very bored in that role of being a gymmer. So what do? I concentrate. My trainer has told me, concentrate. So if you're working out your right bicep, just put your pressure and your head into your bicep too. Similarly, if you're in a career that's not so interesting, try to concentrate on what you're doing so that you learn to enjoy it more. But if you have a passion on the side, that's the best news. Find the time to always keep your passion alive. Keep passion and creativity alive. And once you continue to give some time to it, you never know. Your career and your passion, like it did for me, may just join in the middle, and you may find yourself in the right place at the right time, doing the perfect thing. helping a lot of people, making a lot of money, and enjoying what you do. So keep at it. I'm sure you'll find a solution.
How do you manage when everything is dependent on you, your husband, financial decision, your child, your work? And this is because you have done this to show yourself as a superwoman, and now you are in a trap.
So everything is you dependent.
Yeah, correct. That's right.
And what will happen if a bus hits you? What is your plan B? Right? Okay. So to be so dependent on one person in any case is not a good idea, right? So we have to work out a plan B and have some shared responsibilities. But if you're already in this situation, please go back to my first tip. Which ball can you draw? Which ball can you throw to somebody else? And which ball can you kick out? You're the best candidate for that one tip that I gave you. After today's program, don't forget what I said. Please buy some plastic balls, write on it what those balls all stand for in your life. And as you're juggling, you decide which you're going to throw. Metaphorically, but that's why I bring this, this mask. Metaphorically, but also literally, you should be able to apply this. Go ahead and apply this. Which one are you going to take out so that you can become less dependent? This is not an enviable situation that you're in. So you openly in a forum addressed it. That means you're ready for change. I'm very happy that you've asked this question. It means you've taken the first step. You know that lovely sentence, no? The journey of 1,000 miles is taken by a single step. Your single step was asking this question out loud today. Now go ahead and start making those dropping ball, kicking ball, and throwing ball syndrome. How should I take out time for my hobbies and me time? What should I cut out on? Gadgets. You won't like that. That's not the answer you wanted from me, right? So please take some passion. Find what you love to do and make sure that you spend some time to do that. And if you're tired and you have to sleep, please sleep. That's good. It's the most restful thing to do, right? But balance is the right thing. And as a teenager, maybe you should take out some time to have a discussion with your parents. Your mom is always your best friend. Talk to your mom and say to her, Mom, give me 2 pieces of advice, and then please follow that advice, okay? Because it'll work. She knows you best. I hope it works for you, Ruhi. I'm happy to see there's a teenager on this program. As an anonymous question, I'm in a relationship and the lady does not want to work and finds perfect sense in being a housewoman. What do I do? So do you want her to work? Do you need it economically? Even if you don't, in Champion Woman, we believe every woman has to be contributing and working. Whether she works in a corporate or for herself or in an NGO is not important, but that she has to be contributing and having a day job is very important. So please encourage her. Try to find out 2 things that she's really good at and point that out to her and say, how are you going to use this skill to be able to help others? Stay-at-home wives can become less than maximum potential. They don't live out their potential. So I'm fine if you want to be a holder and a homemaker, that's great. But do something. At least cook extra 2 meals while you're cooking and serve it to 2 other people. Whatever it is, so that you feel like you're giving more than you receive. Tell her that, and I think she might appreciate it.
That's a noble cause.